starts taking apart equipment in the doctor's office, and she says, "I'm so worried about Dilbert. You know, he's always wanting to take things apart and put them back together and make them into new things." And you know, the doctor does this cursory examination. He says, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your son has the knack." And she says, "The knack? What does that mean?" He says, "Well, it's somebody that's predisposed to taking things apart and understanding how mechanisms work." And she says, "Oh, will he lead a normal life?" And he says, "No, I'm sorry, he will become an engineer." So that's the knack. Mark Bowie, M-A-R-K-B-O-W-I-E. I was an engineer in aerospace for 26 years. That was my career prior to this. About 6 years ago, the company I worked for sponsored FIRST robotics teams, and so my son and I set up a FIRST robotics team here at Modena High School. And through that, I got excited about STEM education and teaching engineering, and became discouraged that there was no shop programs anymore. So I thought that it would be important for students to have opportunity to learn how to make things and how to solve practical problems. So that's why when my career at Bowie ended, I came here to start my CTE career. The response has been, for the people that have been involved with it, has been really good. But there's still a lot of people in the school, even amongst the teachers and counselors, that don't even know about the program yet. So that makes it challenging to get people to sign up. Once they're signed up, they enjoy it. There are starting to be more programs where they are integrating robotics into curriculum, and I think that's probably going to be more meaningful in the long run than just having robotics as a separate activity. For example, the C-STEM program, they use robotic problem solving to teach math, and one of the problems with teaching math is that students don't understand why they have to learn these math concepts. But if they have to figure out how many rotations of the wheel to make the robot travel, they need to make the robot travel a certain distance, now they can start to see the practical application of that math, and they're more willing to learn it. So by focusing on problem solving, they learn the math without just drilling on doing algebra problems. I think most of the students they just don't have the confidence. You know, they think that because they've never been allowed to take stuff apart, and so they don't have the confidence to think that it's something that they can do. And that's the large part of what I'm trying to do here, is give kids confidence that what they need to know they can learn, and they can make things or repair things or repurpose things, and get over that barrier of thinking that's something that only people in big companies with factories and stuff can do. You build confidence through starting them off with hand tools and then bigger and bigger machines. First, just getting some confidence and saying, okay, I know how to use a screwdriver, and I know how to use a power screwdriver, and I know how to use a drill, and now I know how to use a milling machine. It's just, more sophistication of basic principles. The real potential is using robots and technology as a part of an integrated curriculum, and like the C-STEM program with math. There's also curriculum being developed to integrate robotics and engineering with physics, so that abstract. You don't learn physics just to understand what the force of gravity is. You're learning it because it helps you to solve practical problems about how to make things move and that kind of thing. So it's engineering is just the practical, the application of physics and math to solve practical problems. And I think that's what turns a lot of people off to math and science, is because it's not presented as a solution to practical problems. It's some of these abstract concepts you hear all the time. Why do I have to learn this? I'm never going to use this. Well, if you understand it and understand how it applies in solving practical problems, then you can. It doesn't really matter which field of engineering you go into. Once you're able to think like an engineer, you can learn the specifics of a particular field. But it's really the systematic problem-solving process that's the skill that you learn in engineering school. One of the primary goals is having the equipment. The way that purchasing happens in education, lots of times somebody will buy a bunch of kits without understanding what it is that they're going to do with them. And so they put the cart before the horse. And in lots of cases, when I walked into this, we had lots of robot kits, but we didn't have the parts that we needed to teach the curriculum. Most experts recognize robotics as being something where you've got the robot takes or senses its environment in some way and makes a decision for action, and according to its program. So if you don't have sensors, it's not a robot. It's just a remote control car or something like that. And we didn't have any sensors. And then software. We didn't have the software to program the robots. So slowly, you're building the foundation where we've got the right parts, we've got the right software and computers that'll run the software. And so those have been my goals so far, is just to get a functioning curriculum and the resources that are necessary to teach the curriculum. We're applying for a grant to build a desktop manufacturing program here at the high school, where it'll be focused on using the more and more available small manufacturing machines, like CNC routers and 3D printers, to make things that people need. And that hopefully, in the future, the big monolithic corporations that have big factories are probably not going to be the future for career paths for most of these students. They're going to be working in smaller companies that do niche type manufacturing. And so I want to teach them how, if they have an idea, they have the resources are available for them to make that idea happen, so they can go off and make a business with an idea that they have. And there's not the barriers to starting your own business like there used to be. You don't have to have a factory to make something. I think the robot says that we're done.